Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. This is Brock Beard from lastcar.info, and this is our post-race live stream. Those of you who were, well, I guess we only have one person here so far. Hopefully the audio is still working okay. We're again trying out the new microphone arrangement in here, so don't hesitate to let me know if we have any audio issues here tonight as we get all of this worked out here. But coming at you right after the conclusion of the Cup Series race in Phoenix, and your winner unofficially is Martin Truex Jr., the same Martin Truex Jr., who it even seemed like he was aware a little bit in his post-race interview, had 3 times finished last at Phoenix with 3 different teams in 3 different election years, a streak that just ended last year when Quinn Houff finished last in the 2020 running of the race, which was very well timed because, of course, that was a championship race that time around. Of course, the points being different and who was eligible for everything and all that. So yeah, I mean, really interesting race here. I mean, definitely a bit more calm than we've seen in the last few weeks, and it was only a matter of time until we really saw a driver win this race that was a more traditional winner. But Truex, I don't think was high on most people's lists. Certainly wasn't on mine to be contending for the lead. Again, it seems like, again, a lot of the bad runs he had were in otherwise good seasons, whether it was with DEI in 2008, Michael Waltrip in 2012, and then Furniture Row in 2016. Luckily with Joe Gibbs here, again, like I mentioned, ending the streak there. Great effort there for him and the team. He and Joey Logano seem to have the best cars in the field. Have to talk about other drivers throughout the field here at the same time. While we didn't really have a great finish, at least a final finish at the end of the race, I mean, there were certainly 2 drivers out there that I think were very impressive there during this race, and would certainly be remiss without mentioning them. First and foremost, Bubba Wallace and the 2311 Racing team did a fantastic job out there. And I think, as I mentioned on the Twitter there, I think that they were actually having a really good race with the team Trackhouse effort there. It seemed like, especially when the 2 of them were around the 15th to 20th spot there, they were really fighting in there. And Suarez had a good run out there as well. But Bubba certainly putting on a great show there to kind of follow up his run at Daytona. Like I said, they were, like they said in the broadcast, certainly looking for a strong run out there and running the McDonald's car, no less, trying to end that streak that's been going on since 1994. And Atlanta next week will be an interesting place for all that to set up too, because that's one where Kyle Larson was really good in the McDonald's car and had a pit road penalty kind of slip it away there. A little bit of tire strategy worked out there at the end, trying to run on old tires. We saw that was a problem for Ryan Sieg in the Xfinity race yesterday. For those of you who weren't here yesterday, I did a brief stream yesterday testing the audio out for an Xfinity race, but we'll talk about the Xfinity race here too, because there's definitely stuff to talk about there. But yeah, it was a kind of a crazy situation there, but really impressed with the run. It seemed like Bubba Wallace had a really good long run car, and it was good to see him have a good performance out there, given the fact that he's only had 2 lead lap finishes coming into this race at Phoenix, and his best of a 10th, I think it was in 2018, a couple years ago, looked like he was going to actually beat that by a couple of spots. What was he, about 7th place when he was passing Kevin Harvick? Very impressive out there, and I think that augurs well for the team going forward. And maybe there was a little bit of extra incentive if they win a race here in the regular 26 races and try to put on a good showing from there. So certainly that story. The other driver to certainly talk about in that sense would be Corey LaJoie. He was, I know, again, different from Bubba because he was actually, LaJoie was doing a bit of strategy there to kind of stay up front. Prior to this race, it only led 13 laps, and all 13 of those laps were in races last year, where in each race he led no more than 6 laps. A little bit of strategy there, unfortunately, didn't quite work out for him the way the cautions fell and the pit strategy went. But it was good to see that number 7 Spire Motorsports team get a little bit more attention that they've traditionally had in the past here. So certainly interesting to see in that aspect, and good to see a couple teams get more attention here, even though the finishes didn't necessarily have the indication there. But I mean, if he had with Bubba Wallace, and I've seen the comment here, Jack Garland, I agree. Yeah, if he got fresh tires on the previous caution, it seemed like he would have been able to at least defend that position. Unfortunately, at the end there, for some reason, the field just got strung out way too much, and it was hard for a lot of drivers to catch each other. Even Kyle Larson seemed to have a lot of issues at the end, despite how great his car was during this race. But something they can definitely, learn from and build forward here, whether it's this November's race at Phoenix or other races further down the line. But yeah, running on old tires, unfortunately, didn't seem to be the winning strategy. Although I thought he did a respectable job out there defending his position and holding about third or fourth there on the restart. Whereas Ryan Sieg yesterday in the Xfinity race, by picking the outside lane, seemed to be just booted out of the groove, got into the wall, and pretty much ended his race at that point. Luckily, didn't have that kind of scenario this time around. Talking about Jack, I'm seeing you're also mentioning about, we got the Eric Almirola with a great run there. Good to see him bounce back there in the pit boss car. Interesting way that it certainly played out. Good to see Matt DiBenedetto run better this time around. He didn't get the top 10 that I'm sure they were aiming for, but where was he in the final results here? Oh, was he further back? I thought he was further up than 15th. Did he drop back at the end? I hope not. Where on earth is he? I must have just missed him here. In the 12th, 13th, 14th spot there. So for DiBenedetto, good turnaround after the heartbreak at Las Vegas, where they were looking to have a top 10 run at a track where they finished second both times last year. Had a bit of an issue on pit road with one of their tires. But this time around, getting a 14th place finish right ahead of them. Alex Bowman didn't get talked about too much during the broadcast, but after that early spin where it seemed like you had some pretty significant damage to his car, not as much as other incidents like the Alfredo and Cody Ware situation, but great 13th place run, great recovery for him there at his home track. Bowman, I think, is somebody that's still kind of lying in the weeds here. Probably is going to be another favorite to win, especially if Hendrick's momentum keeps going the rest of this season. That's going to certainly be interesting to talk about. But again, talking about Hendrick, you got William Byron in 8th, Kyle Larson in 7th, Chase Elliott in 5th. The rest of the teammates all in the mix there. Larson, reminiscent of 2007 Daytona 500, had it not been for those pit road speeding penalties, we may very well be talking about Larson for a second straight race and by a large margin of victory. It seemed like he had such a fast car, except for that last run at the very end of the third and final stage. Certainly seems to still speak for how well that team has been doing this year, how much they've rebounded, and going into a race again. I think in Atlanta, Larson's going to be really one to watch. Where again, pit road speeding, I think in that race, when he had the McDonald's car there, really kept him from being able to pull off a victory in that event as well. So that's going to be an interesting one to certainly talk about. Kevin Harvick keeps his streak of consecutive top 10 finishes at Phoenix going by finishing in the 6th spot. Other competitors up there, Denny Hamlin. I like the paint scheme that kind of looked like Derek Cope's car, but that's a whole other thing. The purple numbers made it a little different from that standpoint. But certainly got to talk about the other end of the field, too. The last place battle was settled very quickly as Timmy Hill dropped out after just 15 laps in the number 66 car. An unfortunate turn of events, given that he had done so well in the Xfinity race yesterday, finishing in the 14th spot. This time around, Hill out very early in the race. Had a pretty tight battle at the back of the field for the first couple of laps. Him and James Davidson were running side by side for a couple of laps there. Or Davison, sorry, not Davidson. Running side by side on that one. Good situation there for the back of the field, but unfortunately an early exit for him. Cody Ware's situation was probably the most interesting there amongst all the accidents that we had here. But definitely a situation there between Cody engine at the beginning of the race. Big thanks to the folks on Twitter for giving me a heads up there on the engine issue for Ware at the start. Unfortunately, it seemed like that went away for a little bit, but then it kind of came back again there towards the end of the race and became more of an issue in that situation. So unfortunate that didn't work out there for him. Although he seemed to be indicating that lap traffic was a factor in him being eliminated in that accident. Certainly Anthony Alfredo having issues of his own in the first part of the race and then being involved in that accident there. Let's see. Matthew Lumsden, thank you for the comment there. Good to have you back in the chat here. Let's see. No tires, just gas. Yes, thank you for the picture sent yesterday there for the last place finish of Jesse Little, rather, in the Xfinity Series race. We'll definitely talk about that as well. Again, those of you, again, if you weren't here for the Saturday show here, we did a very brief one yesterday, again, getting the setup worked out here. We can talk about the Xfinity race as well. Just checking out any other stories from this. It's kind of interesting that this race kind of came and went to a degree. It still, I think, is one reason that I don't think Phoenix would be the best location for the championship. I think, you have a last round of the championship should be kind of more of a dramatic kind of endurance match to kind of wrap things up at the end of the year. I think even the 500-mile races at Atlanta, our venue next week, were pretty good in that respect. And you had kind of an interesting situation there. But definitely Homestead, given how competitive a race we saw there even this year when William Byron won and you had Tyler Reddick getting in the second spot there. If you threw the championship into that, I think that just seems like it's just purposefully designed to put on a great championship battle out there. Unfortunately, they've changed the schedule around in that sense. The real issue with Phoenix is perfectly, to talk about today. We had a competitive race, certainly some comers and goers there, but the race was over in a flash. If you're going to have a championship battle, you can't really have it end quite that soon. This isn't Formula One here, where you have a lot of 90-minute races, and that's the best you can do in that sense. Again, something that, hopefully it will still be re-examined in the near future. But in the meantime, at least we still have the 500-mile race in Atlanta, and we still had Homestead just recently. I still think a 500-mile race at Homestead would be worth trying out if all the options are on the table at some point. But that would be one to talk about. Christopher Bell, great run for him in the 9th spot there. Looking back further here, Bubba Wallace with the 16th place finish. Ross Chastain in a couple of incidents there in 19th. Eric Jones in 20th. He looked like he was going to have a good top 10 run there at the beginning of the race there. Unfortunately, Jones fell back further there. Daniel Suarez finishing 21st. Another solid run there for the Trackhouse team, coming back from losing a lap there in the middle stages there. Michael McDowell got the lucky dog as well at one point, got 23rd after some promotional deals there in the Arizona area to commemorate his win in the Daytona 500. So that was good to see. Kyle Busch, first car one lap down after his late race incident, finishing in the 25th spot. Still looking to turn things around there on that end. Corey LaJoie was 27th after his early part of the race there, leading a few laps on pit strategy. And kind of an interesting one. I guess it's really hard to really talk too much about a lot of this race because it seemed like a lot of drivers basically finished where we would traditionally expect them to. Some did outperform. Again, LaJoie and Wallace and even Eric Jones really doing a lot better there in the middle stages of the race. Unfortunately, didn't work out to a great finish, but each of them getting some camera time there. But that'll be certainly something to talk about here. But unofficially, Timmy Hill still your last place finisher. I believe it's his 4th last place finish at Phoenix, the 3rd in the last 6 races for Motorsports Business Management. And the number 66 itself has finished last, I believe, 4 times at Phoenix. And one of those was actually with Michael McDowell back when he had HP. It's going to have a little bit of a challenge in the article here to talk about it, but that's to certainly talk about. Let me see here. Lead lap 17M squared. Yes, thank you for mentioning Justin Haley in the lead lap finish there. Where did he finish? I didn't really follow him during the race here today. 4th, yeah, last car on the lead lap. Great job by Haley. Again, given the, I guess he got in one of those incidents at the very end of the Xfinity race yesterday. But yeah, great run for them this time around. Spire Motorsports. I think somebody was mentioning it on Twitter earlier that Spire Motorsports has just completely turned things around this year. And while it's not exactly a 180-degree turn, I think they definitely are showing some signs of improvement. Certainly LaJoie and McMurray back in the Daytona 500 having good runs to start the year off was a good sign, even with all the chaos that happened during that one. Hopefully they get some good runs on the mile and a halves to kind of get a little more competitive on that part of the program. We're going to see that certainly next week. Then the dirt race at Bristol, that's just a complete toss-up at that point. While I get I'm going to get the results for the Xfinity Series race here in the meantime. Again, we talked about the Xfinity Series race yesterday also, but we'll definitely talk about that as well. Those of you who are in the Patreon, patreon.com/LastCarOnBrock, today is your last day to vote on which starting grid I'm going to do, either the Cup Series, Xfinity Series, or Truck Series this year. If you're not a member, feel free to sign up at any level and you're able to vote. Even if you're just on there for 1 month, that's fine. We got a number of votes there. We have a couple of front runners here. You're certainly free to check that out. I just want to definitely mention that because I'm not sure if every member in there already has been able to vote. But the thread is already in there. Again, patreon.com/lastcaronbrock. And of course, we'll reveal which starting grid that's going to be. I'm probably going to do the announcement on that this week. I think that would be the best way to do that. And we'll certainly find out which one that's going to be. Looking here. Yeah, very worried about. I mean, I see Sir Wrinklestein seeing your comment there on Timmy Hill. I don't know what's going on with Carl Long's team there. I know they've always had their share of struggles. Unfortunately, this is a track where traditionally they've always kind of had some problems. I don't know if it's just the issues with the transition off the banking, or if they just don't have a good setup or anything. Even the races that we covered there, it seemed like he was always in the garage area in the early laps. There was some speculation. I believe Bob Pockris was mentioning this about the possibility that drivers out there are really rattling fittings off of their cars that are causing engine failures. We saw that yesterday in the Xfinity race between both Michael Lynette and Noah Gragson in the early laps. Be very interesting to see if anything more comes of that. I hope maybe Larry McReynolds does like a tech profile or something on that, because there may be some credence to that. It seemed like with Gragson in particular, when he hit the flat on Saturday, the fluid was immediately coming out the back of the car, and it was a real issue on that point. So hopefully something else will come of that there. Let's see here. Definitely want to talk about the Xfinity race there yesterday. Again, I talked about this a bit yesterday, so and those of you who are in the show on that one, it may be a little repetitive, but I want to make sure I go over some of these other statistics at the back of the field. Brandon Brown, it was a career best third place finish for him. The Brandon Built Motorsports team, his second top 5 finish. A great run for him. He got a last minute sponsor in Las Vegas, able to turn the team around and get a good run. I mean, of course, he had a great season last year too, that really kind of put him in the conversation with guys like Ryan Sieg and other competitors, Daniel Hemrick. They're trying to kind of break through. A good run there. Bailey Curry improving Mike Harmon Racing's career best 8th place finish with Kyle Weatherman last year at Kentucky, getting a 7th place finish in the flagship number 74. Great job by Curry there. Now it's good to see that both those teammates have now broken through and got their first top 10s of their own career. Maybe it'll help that team keep going. Jeremy Clements got 10th, which recovered from his last place finish in this same race last year. Good to see. JJ Yaley got a lot of great screen time yesterday. Had that great battle with Riley Herbst for a lot of the last 20 or 30 laps. Again, another hometown hero there, getting a good finish there. Good to see him get a good finish out there. I think he was, 13th at this? Let's see. Yeah, 13th on the final restart. Just checking the article here for the stats. And, of course, mentioning Timmy Hill, the 14th place finish that he had before the unfortunate engine failure today was his season best run and his best ever at Phoenix in an Xfinity Series race. So that was good to see. A lot of drivers also very different from today's race. You had a lot of drivers that had a lot of damage or involved a lot of incidents, but still got good finishes. Among these, have to give a shout out to Jade Buford and the Big Machine team out there. The number 48 got some great TV coverage. Before J.J. Haley's battle with Riley Herbst, it looked like Buford was going to be the closest battle that Herbst was going to have in trying to get into the top 10 at the end there. Was still running along there when he unfortunately hit the outside wall and dropped back in the final laps. But even then, the team managed to piece the car back together and get him to finish in the 20th spot there, along with Tommy Joe Martins, who hit the wall and was able to keep going. And Colby Howard didn't even have the rear TV panel on his car and got a good finish there. So we saw a little bit of both between the Cup Series and the Xfinity Series race in terms of just how wild things were. But a different set of circumstances to certainly talk about there. Let's see. But the last place battle ended up falling between BJ McLeod Motorsports teammates. Big thanks to the member that the person that reminded me that Jesse Little is driving a Toyota instead of a Chevrolet. So I appreciate catching the oversight on that. I want to make sure these things are as accurate as possible. It doesn't do any good to not get the correct information there. So kudos on that. But Little, unfortunately, involved in a very early accident there at the same time that his teammate Matt Mills was losing multiple laps with an issue under the hood. It seemed like there was a brake issue for Little's car. When the car broke loose into turn number 1, backed it into the outside wall very hard. About 20 laps before that, they were having issues topping off the fluids, wanted to see if there was a leak. Seemed like the leak had been fixed, but then, of course, you had this incident afterwards and ended up finishing in the last spot. I mentioned the JR Motorsports cars as well as Ryan Sieg kind of shouldered into the outside wall there at the end of the race. And then, of course, Josh Berry, during his accident, kind of stole the show of the cameras with a bit of the double bird to I guess it was to Santino Ferrucci after the initial contact that put him in the wall before contact from Blaine Perkins immediately preceded his own spin into the wall in turns 1 and 2. Perkins did a decent job too in his Xfinity Series debut, despite the damage in that incident, finishing in the 24th spot. Ferrucci getting 15th, also continuing his streak of top 15 runs since last time in Las Vegas, and looking further back in the field. Kyle Weatherman, unfortunately, unable to follow up his teammates' great run out there. He ended up dropping back into the 34th spot there. Dexter Bean looked like he had a good run earlier. He had some pretty aggressive moves at the beginning of this race, too. One that looked pretty good. I know he had one at Vegas, but I took notice of his car a little bit in this race, too. Unfortunately, just a 29th place finish. If you check out DGM Racing's Twitter, you see what's left of the car afterwards. Bean had that one incident where he backed into the wall earlier, and then there was very little of his car, it seemed. I don't want to keep elbowing that. Backed into the wall or got some more damage there. There's very little left of the number 90 car after the end of that race. But despite that, again, the team's still trying to get the very best run that they can out of that. Josh Williams, this was mentioned by another user on Twitter there, information about how the number 92 made up laps in each of their last 3 races. And in the last 2 of those races, finished on the lead lap after issues. Williams looked like he was going to be the last place article feature for this one. I was getting ready to start writing about him again. But then he ends up getting a 21st place finish on the lead lap. So big kudos to DGM on that. Stephen Parsons coming from 35th on the grid to finish 18th. Timmy Hill from 39th to 14th. And, of course, Austin Cindric winning the race, showing that it was no fluke, apparently, that he won the championship last year against the highly favored Chase Briscoe for the title by taking the winner-take-all victory there last November. Cindric, once again, I don't know when his next Cup Series race is going to be, but I think it's going to be interesting to really see what they can do here at the same time. So that'll be something to say. Let's see. Beast Metal, I see you're promoting worthless pieces of F Incorporated. Yeah, there we go. much appreciated your support. Thank you so much. Just checking anything else on here. Let's see. Go. Thank you so much, everyone, for checking out here. Let's see. Lead lap finish on the 77. Rest in peace, Murray Walker. Yes, Sir Walker, absolutely. Condolences to his family and friends. It's mentioned in the show yesterday. Again, tremendous talent. Really made Formula One accessible for people. And actually, I didn't even realize, not just Formula One. I saw the clip that somebody posted yesterday of him calling a really exciting race in, I guess it was just in touring cars, like BMWs and Vauxhalls and whatnot there, and even in fendered racing. Slipped right into it very easily. Very easy transition into the call there. So really entertaining. I know, I'm sure somebody's could find the link there. I don't remember if I retweeted it or if I just liked it on there, but it was really entertaining. But yeah, and if you're ever looking for some really good motorsports content, if you have anything that has Sir Walker's commentary in it, that's certainly the way I'm sure he will live on for everybody out there, and shoot, myself included. I wasn't really a big Formula One person growing up, or really watched as much European racing there, but of the reputation of somebody like that, who, much like, say, a Ken Squire or Chris Economaki over here, or even Mike Joy, I mean, being from that same generation there as well, really kind of advancing the sport and kind of making it their own. through their own unique calls out there. And I think he's definitely Bob Jenkins. We talked about him before. And of course, sending our best wishes to him as well. Definitely a lot to talk about on that too. All right. Yeah, seeing a lot of Truex fans here in the chat. Glad you guys are enjoying it here. But again, unofficially your winner. We'll see what happens in the post-race inspection. Probably won't wait that long until inspection on that. But if you have any other questions on anything from this week, that's definitely let me know. Alexander Luft, yep, now commentating with James Hunt in heaven. I like that. Certainly, yeah, some of the great calls there. I mean, James Hunt was a great. I mean, shoot, anybody that's seen Rush, I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg that they've made in the movies. I can't imagine what real life personality was in the booth, much less behind the wheel there, but tremendous things there too. Let's see. Bill Lester running in Atlanta. So that was confirmed, right? We talked about Bill Lester looking into running the Atlanta race. I guess last I heard is that they were going to do something with Marcus Lemonis and get the sponsorship deal worked out. Good to see. Again, I think back to like even 10 years ago where, well, I guess was it 10 years ago? Yeah, when like Jeff Bodine just randomly came out of retirement and ran some cup races. It was great. And what's great about it is it's really an opportunity to really kind of learn more about these drivers and bring them to a generation that maybe didn't see them race really in their heyday or at the time that they last competed out there. I think that's fantastic. In a more perfect set of circumstances where you had more fan access to the infield and media access and everything, maybe we can get a lot more of those stories out there and kind of share them with you. But yeah, I hope it's the beginning of a trend where you get a lot more of these guys out there to try them out. So that would be certainly interesting. Oh yeah, Tad Hugo. Yeah, different Bob Jenkins. That's the owner of Front Row Motorsports than the broadcaster. That confused me too. I'll tell you what. If Bob Jenkins owned a race team, it wouldn't surprise me if he owned a Cup team. But I would think he would probably do IndyCar instead, given that, of course, he became synonymous with the Indianapolis Motor Speedway just as much as other personalities there in the track's history. So that's definitely one to talk about. F1 touring cars, motorcycles. Yeah. I mean, my goodness. There we go. Well, let's see here. I'll do some trivia here in just a moment. I'm going to get some of this here. What else did I have on this? Oh, I added this to the article. If you've already seen this in the Xfinity Series article, I definitely want to bring this up. Jesse Little is actually the 6th different first-time Xfinity Series last place finisher that we've had, extending even into last year with, I believe, Josh Realm started the trend there. Really interesting with that. You would naturally ask, what's the longest streak? There were multiple times that there were 9 race streaks in 1982, 1997, and 2001. And the longest streak was actually the first 18 Xfinity races ever run in 1982. Even though it technically wasn't a new series, it was just the reincorporation of the Sportsman Series, and that's a whole story for another day there. But the first 18 of those races under the Busch Series banner at the time, or the late model Sportsman Series banner at the time, all had different last place finishers in the results. So I'm not sure if we're going to break that record today with the competition being what it is on both ends of the field, but still something kind of interesting to talk about in that sense too. And we'll have some more stories for you in the Cup Series article for Timmy Hill later tonight, pending, of course, post-race inspection. Pre-race inspection seemed very serious at the start of this when you had, 5 drivers drop into the back from both the top-end teams and also the ones further back in the field. Kind of an interesting set of circumstances there, especially given that a lot of the Hendrick cars that dropped to the back still had great runs out there. Big difference there. Also, thank you to Paul Vicinanza for sending the picture of Matt in the article. And thank you also to No Tires Just Gas there in the chat again for the picture of the 78 to get that too. So I definitely wanted to put those in there. Let's see. Let's see. Russell Martin, I haven't watched Todd Parrott's interview on the Dale Jr. download yet. That's again another one of my I've probably said that the last 3 of these shows at least. There's a lot of podcasts I got to catch up to, but that one's definitely on the list. But that'll be interesting. Let's see. Yeah, I remember those photos. So Rinkelstein, yeah, with Harmon, Benning, Green, and Anderson. See, there you go. I mean, that's really speaks to. I do remember the pictures, and I also remember, it's great to really talk about a lot of these teams out there and how much attention they're able to get from these different drivers and from fans out there. I know that's I worry that too many good stories are just kind of slipping through. And luckily, there's still media presence at these tracks, but I mean, not having that access, I think, is kind of affecting the coverage a little bit there. But hopefully we'll be able to, get on the other side of this and things will start loosening up on that side. So everybody can get more attention to some of these smaller teams and competitors out there. And that'll be in that sense. Beast of Metal, thank you for the super chat there. Hendrick was robbed, Elliott and Byron fans. Well, again, there's a lot of different ways to look at it. I'm surprised you wouldn't include Larson in that conversation too, because it's certainly possible. Again, Larson was really fun to watch, I have to say, in spite of, especially when the last place battle was settled earlier. One thing that's kind of a little behind the curtain here, when the last place battle goes real long, like Phoenix did last November with Quinn Houff, sometimes a lot of stuff that happens during the race just completely slips by me. When it gets settled very early, like this one, my experience of the race is entirely different, because then I'm actually watching it while that stuff's going on in the background, and then it's a very different set of circumstances there. This was definitely one of those, and definitely between Larson's run and Bubba Wallace's run and Corey LaJoie's run, those were some of the fun ones to watch. And yeah, again, Larson reminded me the 2007 Daytona 500. Tony Stewart had a car that good in Daytona, and had multiple pit road penalties, kept dropping to the back, kept coming to the front, and ultimately crashed out of the lead with Kurt Busch and finished last. So you just never know what's going to happen in those circumstances. Certainly Phoenix, a long shout from Daytona, but a different story right there altogether. Let's see. Arca East coming to Dover. Hopefully Brad Smith attempts it. That would be cool. There you go. Camila Cabello chat. That's a new one on me, man. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, Bristol dirt track race coming up. I don't think Atlanta will be a bad race. I mean, we'll see. I mean, the package, certainly last year, Harvick kind of smoked everybody last year, and he's definitely found kind of the whatever setup that he had, at least at the beginning of his career. Well, that was kind of the thing. Didn't Harvick only win that Atlanta race in 2001 and then didn't win there again until like maybe 4 or 5 years ago? It's kind of a weird statistic with that. But of course, now Stuart Haas's team seems like they've really got that place figured out with the old the old pavement and everything. So kind of interesting how that shakes out. Yeah, what was the crew chief thinking on that restart for Bubba? I mean, I don't know. I mean, again, at the beginning of the season, this is the time when you can really afford to gamble. It would have been nice if they got a top 10 finish out there. I think, especially with the new team out there, it's really exciting to see them kind of get their feet under them and, get great pit stops and get great finishes. This one kind of slipped through their hands, but sometimes you got to lose one in order to win one. And that's going to be kind of the situation there with them going forward. But that'll be kind of the thing. Yeah, Stewart finished last in a couple of 500s. Yeah, I think at least 3 of them. But yeah. But yeah, that'll be a different one. Yeah, the Stewart one. I'll tell you what. Yeah, my brother picked Stewart to win that race, and I picked Kurt Busch. So just imagine the conversation we were having during that wreck. That's for sure. We'll do some trivia here too, and we'll jump into that. I'm gonna do that here. Anything else I didn't cover from this or anything? I know I went through the Xfinity race kind of quick, but anything else from that? Don't be afraid to mention it in the comments, and we'll cover that there too. All right, and let's get the categories here. So in the meantime, we'll have you guys pick your category here. Categories are NASCAR, pits, teams, tracks, drivers, and the wild card. So those are our categories for today. NASCAR, pits, teams, tracks, drivers, and the wild card. So a few questions to put on the show tonight. Yeah, wow, we went kind of through it pretty quick here in half an hour. So, alrighty. Oh, Eric's stream just ended? Okay. Right on. Well, welcome aboard for those of you who just jumped over here from Eric's stream on here. He does a lot of great work on his channel too. So I know you guys have a lot of choices when it comes to live streams. So I appreciate you jumping on board here. We'll do some trivia here as soon as I get a little of the red here in the meantime. All right. This is my Greg Biffle throwback shirt here for today. Wasn't sure exactly what one to match up for Phoenix. It was either going to be this or the Phoenix Racing shirt. That probably would work even better, but yeah, so definitely had to bring this one. This one actually, incidentally, I'll tell you still, and I've mentioned this before on the show, seeing the votes coming in there. We got multiple ones here, wild card, 15 seconds, and everything else here at the same time. This was a big reason that I'm still a big fan of the tents that they had for NASCAR Souvenir Alley versus the trailers. I still maintain, even though the trailers, are a nice thing to have, and visually they look kind of cool in the infield, they're just such a hopelessly inefficient way to get fans through the merch X section. And one of the things that was great about it is the year they did this, I think this one was on, like, they had a closeout section of old stuff, and that you had like a treasure trove in there. I found this shirt in that when they had that. I guess it was 2015, 2016, thereabouts. And I think you just found like all kinds of great stuff in there. And I'll tell you what, I mean, at least me personally, I spent more money there that time than I typically do, at a track, especially now doing the media stuff. I don't really have time for that as much, but it's definitely a different situation here. I know people liked it on one side or another. I know people aren't too happy about that and like the trailers that much. But again, when you're at a racetrack, you only give yourself so much time. Even if you're one of those people that come in there like crack it on, even just for race day, sometimes you're just not going to have time to really do everything, especially even with reduced capacity. I don't think it's a practical option to just do the trailers. So we'll see how things look here. We're still getting ready for Sears Point in June to be our next coverage here, but that'll be another one to talk about. Confirmation 07, thank you again for your super chat. In your opinion, who is the better driver from Washington State, Greg Biffle or Casey Kane? Great question. Let me tell you this, or Derek Cope. I guess that's a good one too. I'd be too biased to pick that. I'll leave Cope out of the conversation here on this one, because this is already a good debate as is. I will tell you this: when Larson won, I'm surprised I almost didn't say it right there. When Larson won the race at Vegas, you wouldn't believe how many times during the race I kept calling him Casey Kane. I kept thinking, oh, that's the 5 car. That's Kane. I kept saying it during the week. I should have started a penny jar, and kept putting coins in there for how many times I was saying saying Kane instead of Larson. And he just became identifiable with that. And it's been like, 4 years, I guess, since he was in the 5 car. He went the 95 before he had the unfortunate heat exposure that forced him into retirement. Kane was, I think, one that identified more with that. Biffle is a tremendous talent too. And again, I think that I guess the best way to compare it, you look either at the entire body of work and how many wins. You can say, oh, well, so-and-so had more wins than so-and-so. And I guess, did Biffle have more wins than Kane? I assume he did. It sure felt that way. But I guess an easier way to compare it is both of them at their prime. So Greg Biffle, like in 2005, when he and the other Roush guys were dominating the chase, versus Kane in 2006, when he was unstoppable at the 1.5 mile tracks and just kind of faded a little bit at the end of the year. Both of them ultimately didn't win the championship, but both of them were really strong. I kind of want to go with Kane. I think if they had a better cooling system or just better luck along the way, or different rides fell that way, I would say Kane is probably the better of the two. It's not by much, though. Biffle is really outstanding. And the big difference there is age, because Biffle started much later in his career than Kane did. And Biffle also kind of worked his way up from trucks and Xfinity, whereas Kane had a very cursory time in Xfinity and then before getting into Evernham's car. So you have a different experience there too. But I would still say Kane. And, again, that would be a tough one there. It's close, though. It's very close. Let's see. Casey Kane, Greg Biffle in this. Blue and orange frosted flakes for me. There we go. Are you talking about, the 5 car? Yeah, exactly. I mean, the Tide Ride comes to mind to me, too, because the font on Ricky Rudd's Tide Ride in 91 through 93 was basically the same logo as our CBS affiliate for the news. And I always thought that was cool. I thought they did that special for Sears Point. I didn't realize that was a scheme they ran the entire year. Shows how naive I was at that time. Still naive in a lot of ways today, but at least that one's a little bit different. Let me see here. Just checking the categories for the one here. Let's see. Whoop, hang on. Whoop. Jump down here. Oh, Beast Metal, thank you again for the super chat there. Speaking of Kane and his retirement, isn't that moment where Shepard described him sucking an O2 mask on pit road and Rise of Field filler just eerie? Yes, I would have to say. It's certainly at one point in a career, you wouldn't really anticipate what happens later on in somebody's career. As I mentioned about that earlier this week too. Some things just can end up becoming a little bit different later on in life in that sense there. I mean, I don't think Shepard, meant anything in that statement there with Kane's thing. And I know you're not saying that. So, but certainly, unfortunately, with Kane's career ending with heat exhaustion, and this again speaks to how good Kane was, but he did have a lot of issues with heat exhaustion, and I still think that's a big issue in the sport. Luckily, they've relaxed a lot of the regulations on the passenger side windows, which I think very quietly has kind of guided that issue a little bit. When they crammed so many races last summer into such a short time, I was worried we were going to hear a lot more about heat exhaustion. I didn't hear as much of it that I expected, but yeah, it does kind of bring memories back to that in 2004 with what happened with Shepard and Shepard being able to kind of just keep going after running, a ridiculously hot race in Australia earlier in his career, and then in Martinsville being able to keep going, older equipment there, while Casey Kane had to get oxygen there at the same time. Different situation there. Biff only has one more cup win than Kane. That's okay. That's surprising. I would have thought it'd been further apart. But it was a bit eerie though. I'd have to definitely admit. Yeah. Oh, yep. Yeah. The Daytona Road Course race. Exactly. What was that? J.J. Yaley got out of the car and they put Bailey Curry in, wasn't it? It's somebody from the Xfinity Series that got on board. Tracks, teams, drivers, teams at 3, 4, 1, 2. Okay, I got 2 for tracks. I got 2 for wild card. 3 for wild card. 1, 2. I'm seeing teams leading the category you guys are looking for. Does that sound all right? I'm seeing a couple for wild card. Hopefully I'm counting that correctly here. It was Curry. Okay. Yeah, we'll do some trivia questions here in the meantime. And we will start with teams on that. Teams is always fun. That's a category I like too. All righty. So first question of the evening here. Again, anything else I didn't cover here, definitely mention in the chat there. We'll keep that going there. Who does Bill Elliott credit with giving him his biggest career break? Who does Bill Elliott credit with giving him his biggest career break? All righty. So first question of the day here on that. Who does Bill Elliott credit with giving him his biggest career break? Yeah, it's too bad we didn't have. I mean, again, some Cup races just kind of come and go. I think this was a little different from that. I think it's interesting how it played out, though. I don't think it was a bad race. I think it was actually better than last year in this one with the spring race, though. It's hard to say. It's hard to say, but we'll see. I think we're off to a decent start this year. I mean, Truex is, again, even though he's a bit more of a predictable winner, he's not at all who I was expecting to be anywhere near competitive in this one, much less at this track. So, again, kudos to him and the Joe Gibbs team. Still waiting to hear on inspection, of course, but that'll be the other story on that end. Are the Grammys tonight? I thought the Grammys were yesterday. Oh, no tires, just gas. That's your guess. Okay, right on. You never know. I mean, Bill Elliott did do that one song, I guess. So maybe that would be it. Who does Bill Elliott credit with giving him his biggest career break? And the answer is indeed, a lot of you guessed it, Harry Melling. Harry Melling is the correct answer. The NASCAR officials in '88 gave him his biggest break. Oh, there we go. Now we're going to go pretty far back. A lot of you got that. No tires, just gas. Music Man, Samwise, you got it. Doritos and Mountain Dew. Beast of Metal, Good Eye Brian. Oh, wow. Almost all of you got Zachary Leffler. I think you were the first one. WOF Hornet, and Robbie Burns. There you go. Very cool. Oh, Josh Button, it's okay. Thank you for coming by, though. Appreciate you checking out the chat here today. We'll be back next week for our Atlanta show there. So if you want to come by on this, you're certainly welcome to, of course. Well, I don't sound like a gatekeeper. Of course you can come in. Let's see. Here we go. Next question. And tri-tip sounds good, by the way. That's really good. Excellent. What friendly North Carolina town is home to the Richard Childress racing team? What friendly North Carolina town is home to the Richard Childress racing team? Don't look it up. Just go ahead and guess it. What friendly North Carolina town is home to the Richard Childress racing team? Oh, a lot of you got it. You guys are too good. You're too good. Oh, man, look at that. It's just a wall of welcomes. And, of course, the answer is indeed welcome. You got it. Sour Patch Kids. There you go. I just never – Sour Patch Kids, or especially the straws, those were huge when I was in high school. And I feel like such an old man saying that. I don't even know if kids really like them as much anymore, but everybody treated those like they were just like the biggest thing since ranch dressing back then. See, the race went by so quick. I barely drank any of my Code Red here, but that's okay. We got enough for the show tonight, so that's good. Should have gone to Pits just to throw us all for loops. I did do Pits on the brief show yesterday, so if you're interested in some good trivia on the Pits one, we'll do that there. Maybe we'll switch it up here tonight too to do that. Sour Punch straws were currency. Yeah, it's a good way to put it. That's a good way to put it. Alrighty. Let's see. Here we go. Next question. Again, don't look it up. We're looking for a year here. The answer is going to be a year. What year did Carl Kiekhaefer abruptly leave racing? What year did Carl Kiekhaefer, or Kiekhaefer? I always went Kiekhaefer, but it might be wrong. What year did Carl Kiekhaefer abruptly leave racing is our next question. Sour Patch straws. There you go. See, I am one of the best people to be marketed to. Like, there was literally a video. Was it Company Man or was it one of the other channels there that was talking about Pez? And like, I didn't even sound like I wanted to get any Pez or anything like that. And then all of a sudden, like, they talked about it, I'm like, okay, I want Pez. Like, you know, it's like, I mean, you think about it. I mean, you know, it's like, it's crazy there. So, you know, it's weird because, you know, I mean, a lot of times it's commercials, of course, like anybody else, but I'm sure these commercials and the way things are promoted, even on YouTube and everything, it's just gotten more insidious. And it's definitely on the frequency that I can hear because I pick it up each time. I'll tell you this, actually, if this is sweet chat here, all of a sudden, I tried those Oreos. They have like a strawberry flavored donut Oreo thing. And there was an ad on Twitter that made me go out and buy them. Not impressed. Those were not for me. The golden Oreos aren't as good. Yeah, I mean, if you want an Oreo, you want the chocolate ones, of course. But I mean, there's like 15 different varieties of them these days. But personally, I didn't really care for them. But yeah. Let's see. Should Hot Wheels come back to NASCAR? Oh, they should. Absolutely. Bean Boy, yeah. I think it was Company Man. Let's see. Biggest thing since ranch dressing. I'll tell you what, yeah, I was never the ranch dressing in the pizza thing, but man, everybody just did that. I'm not a big fan of like putting. Okay, well, I need to do the question. Otherwise, this segue is going to last all night. What year did Carl Kiekhaefer abruptly leave racing? And the answer is 1956. 1956. I think somebody got that. A lot of you were like all right around that. Zachary Leffler, I think you were the first one on that one. So we got 69 AD. Nice. 56. Alexander Luff, looks like you got it too. Yeah, you're very close. Very close. Yeah, I'll tell you what, I never liked ranch dressing. I don't like putting like white condiments on food. It usually just doesn't look good. Like, I don't like ranch. I don't like sour cream. I don't like well, gosh, what's the other one? Well, whipped cream's fine, I guess. I mean, everybody likes that, but like, those are kind of the big ones. Tartar sauce, well, mayonnaise. I'm not really big into mayonnaise. Tartar sauce, yeah, usually here and there. But yeah, a lot of those is like, hey, like here's this food. Can I put like this stuff on it? Like, no, don't. No, that's I don't know. That's just my that's just the thing. But if you want to add to the list of memes, this one here, it's food chat tonight. That's gonna be the theme here. Oh, yeah, here we go. Let's see. Here we go. Okay, next question here. What owner gave Bobby Johns 2/3 of his NASCAR Winston Cup rides? Don't look it up. Don't look it up. Just go ahead and try to guess. What owner gave Bobby Johns 2/3 of his NASCAR Winston Cup rides? Oreo is on Jeff Burton's hood. Oh man, I got it. That's a throwback right there. A Jillian? Oh man, I don't know what that is. Oh goodness. Chuck Bound, Ray Fox, Richard Petty, Glenn Wood, 1956. Several guesses here. What owner gave Bobby Johns 2/3 of his NASCAR Winston Cup rides? Those of you who are new coming in here, we've had a few people come in here. Again, let me know if we're having any audio issues. We're doing the mic to the side here. Because again, I wasn't happy with the lapel mic was okay, but I could tell I moved my head too much. And when I move my head, it just kind of goes in and out a little bit from here. But yeah, if the gain's too high, if your eardrums are blowing out, definitely type something in there and let me know. Long term, we're gonna make some changes here on the show here a little bit. I'm in the process. My computer did a blue screen last night when I was doing the Xfinity Series article, so I'm in the process of getting that upgraded here at the same time too, which will hopefully fix the video quality too. I know we had some video issues yesterday, so hopefully we'll be right on that direction. Several guesses here: Chuck Bound, Ray Fox, Red Farmer, Kelsey Osmule. Boy, there's their mouthful. Wood Brothers, Raymond Parks. What owner gave Bobby Johns 2/3 of his NASCAR Winston Cup rides? The answer is Shorty Johns. Shorty Johns. That's the correct answer. There you go. I don't think anybody got that. Shorty, I guess it was a family team, I would assume, from the last name. Maybe that's too much of an assumption. With the name like Johns. Shorty Johns. Yeah, I wouldn't have expected that at that same point. All right. Before we get to our next question, there's something I want to show you too. I was thinking about other segments to do on the show here, kind of shake things up a little. Well, maybe not shake things up, but just add stuff, to it between everything here. Certainly talk about the races and doing the trivia. And after I did the Jim Sauter diecast I showed in the show, maybe one thing I could do is I could dig something out here and kind of show it here to you, something for my collection here. This is one I think is really interesting too. As you would probably expect, since I did do the biography of the late J.D. McDuffie, I have collected some of his diecast of his cars. This one here is particularly interesting here. This one has, as you can see, I'll bring it closer here to the camera. Kind of interesting deal here. Racing Champions put Michael Waltrip's front wheels on the front axle there. So you have kind of yellow rim with the gold rims here. Of course, the picture of McDuffie there in his shop there that they always feature on this one. But always kind of interesting to see like little, sometimes you see something like an error or something in the production of the cars. I think there was somebody on eBay had like some kind of weird collection of like other ones there like that. But this one I always thought was interesting. Plus it has like a little paint flaw on the number there. If you can see that, let me get in the focal range there. There you go. A little bit below the 7 there. So yeah, this one I thought was kind of interesting. So yeah, something else to kind of talk about there. I still maintain that one of these should be in like pretty much everybody's collection. I think that they did a great job on this paint scheme. Racing Champions did. There were a lot of other die-casts that were made at the time. Actually, talking with the souvenir guy, one of the guys at the Gypsy tents outside of Phoenix said that JD's passing was like a big thing in collections at the time, that they really didn't make any die-cast of him until his death, tragically. But then after the fact, everybody wanted one. So that's why you see so many of these around, and I guess so many variants of these in one way or the other. So this will probably be something we'll do on the show here going forward. I'll find something from the collection, bring it out here, and we'll do like a kind of a show and tell segment here. And that's kind of one of the things we'll kind of work on to add to the show here. And if you guys have any questions or something that you're interested in, like if it's like a shirt or a hat or something like that, or it's like you have anything from this driver or something, definitely drop in the chat or something, and we'll do that on a show further down the line or something. So bring something a little bit to the same aspect there too. Alrighty. Jillians are invasive. Okay. Oh, and SpongeBob. Well, this is the hairline speaking, because I just missed the boat on SpongeBob. Like I remember, like, yeah, I mean, this is the tricky thing generationally, and of course you see how many memes are from that show and everything. Unfortunately, I seem to learn more about SpongeBob from the memes than anything else. It's just not as much something I grew up with there, but Imp Lemon did a great video on how it transcended kind of generations there between its younger fans and then as they grew up, and how they're kind of both personalities represented in the show. I won't give too much of it away beyond that, but definitely worth checking out if you haven't seen it already. I think that was the first episode of his Never Ever series. Did a great job on that. Also did a great job on the Earnhardt video too. I thought he did a good job. I didn't entirely agree with his conclusion about NASCAR being too safe. I still think that's kind of a faulty argument that some, especially outside the sport nowadays, kind of make. I don't think you certainly think back to Ryan Newman. Nobody was having a good time when we were all nervous what was happening with Newman there. We want to see, some feats of daring out of these drivers, but still being able to walk out of the car and live to see another day and race another race. I think that's the other aspect there, but that's where that goes. Let's see. So next question here. Which unser finished fourth at Riverside in Holman Moody's last Winston Cup car? How about this? Don't look it up. This will be really good. Which unser finished fourth at Riverside in Holman Moody's last Winston Cup car? Now you want to talk about deep cut? I think we've gone pretty deep here. Of course, I guess if it's limiting it down that way. Which unser finished fourth at Riverside in Holman Moody's last Winston Cup car? Oh, you had to go out for food after Newman's wreck. Oh man, that makes me gives me chills, because that reminds me of like going to the ATM after Earnhardt's wreck, and just I remember exactly that. But thankfully with Newman, yeah, it's things turned out okay on that one, of course. And of course, today he didn't seem to have that good of a run out there. Newman's a past Phoenix winner, but of course he struggled out here too. I believe he finished last in 2008 with some engine issues out here. So definitely was towards the ladder. Where was his run here? Do we have the finish results for Newman? He was 28th, last car, one lap down, just ahead of Tyler Reddick. So unfortunate deal there. Which unser finished fourth at Riverside in Holman Moody's last Winston Cup car? The answer is Bobby Unser. Bobby Unser. Oh, let me try not to close that tab. There we go. Bobby Unser. Wow, a lot of you got that. Yep. Austin Foster, I think you were the first one there. High Octane Cards, Zachary Leffler, Charles Peterson Jr., Robbie Burns, Music Man Samwise, Maserati 9. Okay, I guess it was too easy. Yeah, Darlington's coming up, so we'll see. Interesting bit of statistic there for Bobby Unser. Alrighty, here we go. Here's another good team question. What car owner gave Donnie Allison his first NASCAR Winston Cup ride in 1966? What car owner gave Donnie Allison his first NASCAR Winston Cup ride in 1966? Yeah, Little Al's a bit too young. Yeah, see, exactly. Yeah. It should have said just which driver rather than which unserved. I guess it didn't want to be too impossible with the question. What car owner gave Donnie Allison his first NASCAR Winston Cup ride in 1966? Okay, Haas Ellington, Shorty Johns. Oh, we're going for a possible repeat here. Wood Brothers, Banjo Matthews, Holman Moody, Johnson. Alrighty. Which car owner gave Donnie Allison his first NASCAR Winston Cup ride in 1966? And the answer is Robert Harper. Robert Harper. I don't know if anybody got that. I don't think anybody did. That was a tricky one. Okay, I got to pull that one up because I would not have guessed that either. At all. Let's find out who Robert Harper was. Okay, let me get Donnie Allison. So now I am going to do this. This is another thing I'm working on too. I'm trying to get to the point where I could show my screen, just have to see me the whole time. Those of you, who don't mind it, I appreciate it. But long term, I'd like to kind of get this going. So especially for segments like this, where we can kind of pull up here and find out. Okay, Donnie Allison made 2 starts in 1966. And there it is. Robert Harper made his first 2 starts, finished 27th at Charlotte, and then 9th at Rockingham. So good effort there. Robert Harper only fielded. Well, no. I was about to say he only fielded cars for Donnie Allison, but then he had Armand Hawley make 4 starts in 1967. Only had 11 Cup Series starts from Jackson, Mississippi. I believe home of Lake Speed, isn't it? Yeah, all but 4 starts with Donnie Allison. Best finish of 7th at Bristol in 1967. March. Oh man, I was hoping to be the same day. March 19th, 1967. So almost to the day here on Pi Day. That was the case there. So interesting. Always love finding those statistics there. Yeah, that was a new one. That Robert Harper. We all learned something new today, didn't we? Got a top 10. Got a couple top 10s. Got one in the previous season there too. All right. Okay. Here we go. Next question. What owner's shop did Neil Castles deliver papers to? Didn't mean to squeak there. What owner's shop did Neil Castle deliver papers to before he became Racing News? What owner's shop did Neil Castle deliver papers to before he became Racing News? That's the question. Yeah, Bobby, you raced NASCAR. There you go. What owner's shop did Neil Castle deliver papers to before he became Racing News? This question is trying to be too cool with its phrasing. Not going the direct route, so taking the scenic route to the question mark. We're going to get fun there. Yeah, speaking of which, more good work this week on the Field Fillers episode on Stan Hoover Motorsports. Still don't have a release date set yet. I know I've been kicking the can down the road quite a bit there, but you'll see why once it gets done. This one is kind of interesting because unlike these previous episodes, certainly Kirk Shelmerdine and Morgan Shepherd were good examples of this, where they're really about owner drivers. And, so you basically talk about the driver and team together. And then even situations like Arnold Motorsports and Phoenix Racing, where you're really mostly focused on the team owner, and then the drivers are just kind of, playing a smaller role in this. This is really going to be the first one where the driver and the team owner are going to be very big parts of the story. And there's a lot of moving parts in each of them. And I think it's going to be really exciting. It's been a bit of a challenge to put together, but not from a lack of information. I don't know what the length of the video is going to be. I think I can boil it down so it's not going to be too much longer than the ones we've already done. And other videos later in this series, and there are more planned, of course, are probably going to have the opposite issue where there's going to be less information and there's other stuff to kind of extrapolate on. But this one's going to be interesting. I really, it's kind of turned into a little bit of a rabbit hole here, but it rest assured, it's absolutely coming together. Those of you who are in the Patreon, $5 and up, you'll be able to see it first before premieres. We'll do another YouTube premiere. It's been a long time since we did that. I guess we did the last one right before the season started, and gosh, we've already had 5 cup races now since then. So, but we're definitely on target here to get this done. If not the end of this month, I guess sometime next month. Maybe we'll do an Easter show. Who knows? We'll do something like that. Actually, that probably wouldn't be a bad idea. Kind of shoot for an off weekend and just kind of take advantage of that. Yeah, I'm not gonna put that in stone, but that's kind of what I'm looking at. That's kind of realistically, I think that's the timeline that we're setting on here. But it's gonna be good. I think it's gonna be a good one. So we'll get to that point there. Alrighty. Red flannel, red writing on shirt, code red, too much. Oh, yeah, plenty of red. Red, you got reds on this. Well, you get kind of this brick pattern here. You got like all this. You get some more reds here and something. I don't have red pants, but I need to, well, I guess in a Zoom call or something like this, that's about as much red as we can do here. All right, this is the red flag hour on the channel tonight. Alrighty. So what owners shopped at Neil Castle's deliver paper to before he became racing news? The answer is Buddy Schumann. Buddy Schumann. I don't think anybody got that. They'll go attracting bulls. Yeah, no kidding. Bud Moore, Hendricks, Richard Petty, DoorDash, Wild Guess, Munich. Oh, it was pretty good. Luke Lambert is Chris Buescher's crew chief. I didn't really have to look that up. Oh, Beast of Metal. That was, hopefully you've recovered enough for that answer. Yeah, again, there's no like scale of like, what how hard these questions should be, but I guess it's just, yeah, it just kind of turns out that way. But yeah, Buddy Schumann is the correct answer on that. Let's see, guys from the 50s and 60s we've never heard of. I don't know. We probably reached the bottom of the list on this one here. We're gonna have to do something like that. Dan Pro Throw. I'm not sure who the UK's favorite NASCAR driver is. Do you know offhand? I'm not sure. I would assume they'd be. Well, I don't know what to assume, quite honestly. I mean, if they like the driver, it has to be from England, or if it's something like that, or I don't know. Team's too hard. See, again, we were talking earlier about pits being hard. I mean, that's a whole different thing. Alrighty, next question. Who is the all-time winningest car owner at Bristol? Bristol not quite coming up, but hey, we're on that subject already. Who is the all-time winningest car owner at Bristol? Team's too hard. Heard you like red. I like red, but I think orange I like even better, especially like bright orange. Maybe I'll do that on a show here. Wear bright orange on that. Wear like some Tide Ride gear or something along that way. Of course, then I guess I think they used to make orange do, but I guess that would be a different one. But there you go. Okay, we got guesses for Penske and Junior Johnson and McClure. Now, again, keep in mind, this is the late 90s, so the answer on this may very well not be very true now. So it's tough to say. Live wire. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, do all the orange on that one. Do they still make it? I haven't seen it. I've seen the blue do still in stores, but that's about it. Who is the all-time winningest car owner at Bristol? The answer is indeed Junior Johnson. A lot of you got that one. Junior Johnson is indeed the correct answer. Blake Thiemann, you were one of the first, I think, to get that one. Junior Johnson. Oh, no. Alexander Luft. Let's see. Peterson, Bean Boy, Zachary Leffler, High Octane Cards. lots of crazy names here. I like it. Copes, Pure Later, Chevy, or the Tide Ride? Oh, man. Tough call. It's interesting. In doing the research for the Cope book, most of the accounts describe Cope's car as red. I always viewed it as orange growing up because it's such a bright neon red, and I'm colorblind already, so red and orange and brown and red sometimes are very difficult for me. But that's that's one there that I think kind of works better. But Rudd's car undeniably was orange, so probably the Tide ride there from that. But it's close. I mean, it's interesting when they produce diecast, they made it all pretty orange. Junior Johnson, indeed, the correct answer on that one. All right. Okay, here we go. Here's a good one. Austin Cindric, the Pink Panther. There you go. It was metallic too. I don't know if it was. I don't think it was. The account that I had, and then the full story will be in the book, which is still on the way too here, of course. My understanding, I don't remember hearing anything come up about the paint being metallic itself. I think it was just really, really, really bright, especially that time period. I don't know if anybody ran a metallic scheme back then. I figure I kind of identified that more with like the late 90s. There were some ARCA races I was watching for the upcoming video here that seemed to have some paint schemes that were kind of metallic looking that were interesting. All right, here, next question here. Who won the 1996 All-Pro First Team Award for Fabricator? Who won the 1996 All-Pro First Team Award for Fabricator? Should wear an orange construction vest. I kind of have one actually. maybe that'll be for the Atlanta show. Maybe we'll go through the spectrum. We started with red. We'll go orange, yellow, and then we'll kind of keep going there. Then I guess yellow would be Bristol, so that would be appropriate. Then I blend right into this chair. maybe I'll have to see if I can remember to wear all orange for the Atlanta show. Hopefully I don't forget that. Let's see. Oh, yes. Who won the 1996 All-Pro First Team Award for Fabricator? So it's hard to tell if it wants a person or a team. I'm not really familiar with the award. It's hard to say. Magnus Hammersmith. That's a great name. No idea. Is an owner a specific crew? I really don't know. It gives me no clues. Well, here, I'll look at the answer and see what. Okay, it's looking for a crew member. It's not looking for a team. So guess a crew member here. Who won the 1996 All-Pro First Team Award for Fabricator? Just wear Pure Later orange. Well, that's true. I did wear that orange shirt at. Well, see, that's the thing. Again, it kind of comes out red, but I think even on the shirt that I wore for the Daytona show, it showed up as orange. I got to look at that again. I got to bring that back out. Randy Dorton, Hendrick Motorsports, Terry Labonte's crew chief. Okay, I think this one's kind of a stumper here. We'll go ahead and do the answer. Who won the 1996 All-Pro First Team Award for Fabricator? It was Charlie Brunhosel. I'm sure I butchered that. Charlie Brunhosel. Charlie Brunhosel. There you go. Charlie B. There you go. Too hard. These are much harder than the questions we've had the last couple of shows here. I don't know. Yeah, Charlie Brunhosel. Yeah, exactly. I mean, again, we're expanding our NASCAR library here by volumes here tonight. This is quite different already. Dorton was Hendrick Engines. Yeah, exactly. Charlie Brunhosel. How would a terrible broadcast member say that name? I'll tell you what, that's become a really polarizing series. I know a lot of people really don't enjoy those videos, and I'm not planning on really doing more of those. That was just experimental between things here. But high octane cars. You say Charlie Brunhosel helped influence the fast pump jacks that are used today? I didn't know that. Let me see here. Charlie Brunhosel Oh, that's right. This is the keyboard where the Z doesn't work. That's another thing to get figured out. Let me get this. I need to at least put that on there. Charlie Brunhuzzle, 1985 NASCAR Winston Modified Series. We talking the same person? Long Island, New York. Is that the same one we're talking about? 85 Valleydale 500 is a feature about Jack. Oh, there's one to watch. It just shows, okay, it just shows the one Whelen Modified start on here, but it sounds like he's much more experienced than that. It shows him finishing last at a modified tour race, but there's no reason listed. 85 World Series. It doesn't really have complete results, so it's probably it's hard to tell if that's accurate or not, but interesting. Sometimes you can't tell with Racing Reference. I know it's an ongoing project, but that's kind of the way that works. Brunhuzzle jocks. There you go. Yeah, tough to say. Yeah, exactly. Beast of Metal. Got to thank you for doing the pronunciation. So yeah, right on. Getting there. I used to do tongue twisters a lot more earlier. I need to get back into that because that definitely helped doing a lot of the videos, especially the starting grids when I was starting that up too. It was kind of working outside my comfort zone at the time, so that was kind of a trick to do there. Inexplicably mimicking him hiccuping is one that I remember offhand. Inexplicably mimicking him hiccuping. There's a good one. Yeah, we can still do that. Try that one at home if you haven't already. That's a good one. Let's see. All right, here we go. What race team won the Busch Series title with Chuck Bown at the wheel in 1990? What race team won the Busch Series title with Chuck Bown at the wheel in 1990? Uh-oh. We lose connection? Hopefully not. There we go. Okay, good. There it goes. What race team won the Busch Series title with Chuck Bown at the wheel in 1990? Okay, we got Morgan McClure. We got Chuck Bown Racing. We got Henley Racing. Okay, any other guesses on here? We're going to the Busch Series this time. What race team won the Busch Series title with Chuck Bown at the wheel in 1990? Herbert Hensley, Roush. My internet has been going back and forth tonight. Oh, that's not good. It looks good on my end here, but that's not great. Again, I do apologize for that. We're getting the new computer that I'll be using for this is coming in the mail, I believe, this week. So hopefully for our Atlanta show, we'll see if there's any improvement there. I certainly hope so, because I want to keep that going. But if it's an issue of the internet, it's going to be tricky because we've tried a few things here and things have still been a little spotty. So we'll find out though. But appreciate you bearing with me here. It's only in second blips. Okay, well maybe we'll close the gap with the next one. I think this next one should have a pretty good antenna on it. This computer was from 2016. It's done a fantastic job. I've got a lot of great use out of it, but unfortunately, I think it's getting to the point where, well, certainly when the keyboard started messing up, that was kind of had to turn the corner on that. What race team won the Busch Series title with Chuck Bown at the wheel in 1990? And the answer is Hensley Racing. You got that one there already. Sir Topham Hatt. Somebody's been seeing my likes and retweets on Thomas the Tank Engine tweets. There you go. Lots of fun stuff on that. Hensley Racing, Charles Peterson Jr. I think High Octane Cards. I think you were the first to the button on that one. Robbie Burns, NASCAR Fan 93-100. Right on. Okay, we'll do a couple more questions here, and then we'll probably wrap up for this afternoon here. I know with the time change and everything, you probably don't want to. You're probably half awake like I am here, but definitely getting more of this. I stayed up way too. I was working on the script for the field pillars thing last night. I probably didn't go to bed till right before the time change. But the code red is definitely helping. I've seen Tugs. I haven't yet. I need to. I saw the video. It was your Train Boy or the other guy on YouTube did a good video summarizing it, but it's definitely something to interesting to check out. Oh, and confirmation with the ooh. There we go. Okay. Alrighty. Here we go. What make of car did Richard Petty drive in his first NASCAR Winston Cup season? What make of car did Richard Petty drive in his first NASCAR Winston Cup season? Have I seen NASCAR racers? Not in a while. I thought about doing something with that actually because I didn't really grow up with it. I mean, I was in high school by the time that came out, but that would be an interesting retrospective to do, I suppose. What make of car did Richard Petty drive in his first NASCAR Winston Cup season? I guess it's all over the place. Plymouth, Oldsmobile, Hudson, Studebaker, Buick, Dodge, the Field Fillers. I do have, for those of you from the Saturday show, I do have this hooked to a condenser, or no, not condenser, compressor. Still getting used to the terms. Somebody actually had a comment, and that suggested I do that for this, and big thanks to that person. I did pull the trigger on that and hook this up to the XLR cable here, so hopefully I'm not shattering anyone's ears with these videos. I found out a way that does that. If I turn the gain up just a little bit, it just blows your mind. So we don't need that. I guess it's all over the place for Plymouth. Okay. Anything else? We're scrolling down here. Love NASCAR racers. There you go. Right on. Oldsmobile, Pontiac, Dodge. All right. What make of car did Richard Petty drive in his first NASCAR Winston Cup season? The answer is Oldsmobile. Oldsmobile. Balso Hardwell, 1994. Thank you for the super chat. What's the next documentary episode you're going to be making? Okay, so standalone videos, I've suspended those for the moment. I have a couple of ideas. I actually just spoke with somebody the other day about a pretty good idea on one. Still kind of putting those in the background right now because I'm really enjoying the Field Fillers thing. It's kind of taken center stage in terms of produced content here on this channel. So the next episode is going to be episode 6 of the Field Fillers, Rise of the Field Fillers, which is going to be on Stan Hoover Motorsports, the number 80 car, and their 2004 season, as well as a larger context from that release date. Probably within the next month, I would say, debating on it. I still don't have a release date, but that's the next one I'm working on here. So that'll be the one. The answer is indeed Oldsmobile. So a lot of you got that one. Let's see. Let me look. Oh, hang on. I didn't want to do that. Top 10 hairstyles in NASCAR history. There you go. Capulet Racing. Jack Garland, I think you were the first one to guess Oldsmobile on that. Just ahead of Alexander Luft and High Octane Cards. High Octane Cards, you've been getting a lot of these tonight, it seems like. Maserati 9, you're always clutch on these. Charles Peterson Jr., WOF Hornets, Doritos and Mountain Dew, Tom Anderson, and Racer 106 2000. Sounds like a phone number. There you go. But yeah, new one. New episode coming on the way. So that's definitely still in the works. And as I didn't mention this here, I have another script I received for NASCAR Man, another video I'm doing with him. I'm planning on recording that script at the same time that I record the next Field Fillers one. So that's hopefully going to come together pretty soon. And we'll have that in the process too. So staying busy, staying as busy as I can. That's definitely the plan. All righty. Okay, not that. That one's too easy. Okay, here we go. We'll just do a couple more here to wrap up here. Jack Garland looked more into behind the sheet metal in your spare time a little bit. I mean, NASCAR Man does most of the work with that. I mean, that's really his baby over there, doing the research and kind of digging the stories up. I've been focusing much more on the Field Fillers thing there. There's some overlap, though, I would have to say. I think a lot of the drivers and teams we talk about, sometimes they run older cars, a lot of times. I mean, talk about the old Ganassi cars that Shepard had in 2004, or different cars that James Finch ran. I think he had Ernie Irvin's Daytona winner when he won an ARCA race there before. So there's definitely some overlap. But I think that's just kind of the way that is. I just kind of stumble across it along the way. Next question. Which member of the Petty clan gave Mike Skinner his break to drive a Busch car? Which member of the Petty clan gave Mike Skinner his break to drive a Busch car? Well, thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying the IRL kart split video series. Yeah, that's another one NASCAR Man's been putting together for quite some time. Very passionate about it. Glad to be a part of it. He gives me very entertaining scripts to read on those, and I'm very pleased to be a part of the process there. And we'll see what the next part's going to be. Kyle, Maurice, Gene, Richard, Dale Inman, Richie, Kyle. Okay, several guesses here. Which member of the Petty clan gave Mike Skinner his break to drive a Busch car? I don't think this came up during his Dale Jr. Download interview. Be interesting if it did. Which member of the Petty clan gave Mike Skinner his break to drive a Busch car? And the answer, wow, what do you got this? The answer is Gene Petty. Gene Petty. I never really even thought about Gene Petty. Somebody got that. I saw that. High Octane Cards, wow, you are dominating tonight. Absolutely. You are the Martin Truex of the show tonight. Yeah, Gene Petty. Yeah, that's a new one. These are really challenging questions. These should be like the Daily Double questions of this thing or whatever. Now this is an interesting one. We'll just do a couple more here. Who drove the Alka-Seltzer Pontiac to a fizzy 29th place in 1990? Interesting way they phrase that. Who drove the Alka-Seltzer Pontiac to a fizzy 29th place in 1990? Now, it doesn't say race, it doesn't say points. It's hard to tell, but that one's a little bit clearer. Who drove the Alka-Seltzer Pontiac to a fizzy 29th place in 1990? Gene Parmesan is your cat. I like that. Yeah, it seems like it's asking for the obvious answer, but I'm not sure if it's meant to be tricky here because it's not saying what race. I don't remember if that team finished 29th in points in 1990. Who drove the Alka-Seltzer Pontiac to a fizzy in quotes, 29th place in 1990? Fizzy. There you go. You got the. Oh, wait. Hang on. Let me get the second page. Yeah, there you go. Kind of interesting way to phrase that there. All right. And the answer is, well, they went for the answer. It is indeed Jimmy Smut Means. You guys got it. Jimmy Means. Yeah, 1990. Oh, yeah, Jason Keller. Yeah, wouldn't even thought of that. 29th in points in 89. A fizzy 29th place. A fizzy night. Well, with that, we'll do one more question here. And let's see. Let's see. Nope. And here we go. Okay. Oh, confirmation. Thank you so much for the super chat again. ARCA breaks. Yeah, I still got to watch the ARCA race from Friday there. My understanding is from some of the clips on YouTube that it was pretty chaotic, a little closer to the Busch race than the Cup race turned out to be. But that'll definitely be one to watch for sure. We have a call on the inspection. I wasn't waiting for that, but I guess we're to that point here. Oop. Do. Truex. Boy, yeah, that would be. Hopefully it is. There we go. Okay, yeah, there you go. Yes, confirmed by Bob Pockra's Tech Complete. Truex is the winner. Suarez and Keselowski expected to be without their crew chiefs for Atlanta after 2 missing or loose lug nuts. Byron, Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch had 1 loose or missing, monetary fine to crew chief. So there you go. So Truex officially your winner. Timmy Hill officially your last place finisher. The article for that will be posted later tonight. So again, for our last question tonight, it is, how long was Donnie Richardson crew chief for his brother-in-law, Brett Bodine? Thank you for the super chat confirmation. 07. Yeah, ARCA breaks are always, well, they can be quite harrowing sometimes, but unfortunately a big part of people learning stock car racing, especially how one of those cars slows down, unfortunately. How long was Donnie Richardson crew chief for his brother-in-law, Brett Bodine? How many years? Or, I mean, I guess it could be months if we're talking about a shorter period of time. Who knows? Don't look it up. Just try to guess it here. Last question of the evening. It's like 2.5 years, 5,789 years. Say 3 years. Tough call. Let me scroll this up. Alrighty, 2 seasons, 6 races, 4. Yeah, it could say a number of races. Yeah, that's a good point. I assume it's going to be by time, but it's not clear. All right, last question of the night. How long was Donnie Richardson crew chief for his brother-in-law, Brett Bodine? And the answer is 7 years. 7 years. 7 years for Donnie Richardson, crew chief for his brother-in-law, Brett Bodine. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Congratulations to Martin Truex Jr. Unfortunate turn of luck for Timmy Hill. He will be featured in our article later tonight. And we'll see you back again next week. Our next show is going to be next Sunday after the Atlanta race, the 500-mile race there. Going to be a busy weekend, a triple header crammed into 2 days. We did a Saturday show this week, like I said, just again for setting this stuff up. We're going to still stay with just one show a week for now for the foreseeable future. So the next show, unless anything else changes here, is going to be that Sunday there afterwards. So in the meantime, again, those of you who are in the Patreon, make sure you get into patreon.com/lastcaronbrock to put in your votes for which starting grid I'm going to do a starting lineup for in the Cup, Xfinity, or Truck Series this year. Voting ends at midnight tonight, so definitely at midnight Pacific tonight. So it's already 3 hours later, and with the time change, that's all what it is. So definitely get your votes in on that. We'll reveal the winner here this week, and we'll go down the line there. LastCar.info is the website. This channel here is the YouTube channel. At LastCarOnBrock is the Twitter channel. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. I know you have a lot of choices when it comes to your post-race live streams, and I appreciate you guys spending some time with me. Have a very safe week, and I will see you back here next Sunday.